Here's a finding worth sitting with, because it puts a real number on a risk most owners feel but never measure. Researchers looked at 2,400 review responses written by medical practices, and 46% of them, nearly half, contained a HIPAA violation. Not in the reviews, in the replies the practices wrote back. And here's what makes it sting. These weren't careless people. They were practices trying to do right by their patients. And these violations hide in sentences that sound completely harmless, because the bar is far lower than people expect. It doesn't take posting a diagnosis to get in trouble. Simply confirming that the reviewer was, in fact, a patient can be the violation, because that alone discloses they sought care at your office. Mention something specific about the visit to set the record straight, and the line's crossed again. The reviewer can say anything they like. The practice can't answer in kind. And this isn't a hypothetical on a slide. The Office for Civil Rights has already settled these exact cases. A practice in California paid $23,000 plus 2 years of federal oversight for naming patients and treatment details in Google responses. A mental health center in New Jersey paid $30,000 for disclosing diagnoses online. A dental office paid $50,000 for sharing a few anecdotal patient details. Same mistake every time. Answering a review with something they were never allowed to say. And enforcement is not subtle about where this is headed. In 2023, the OCR director said plainly they will investigate these disclosures no matter how large or small the practice. In 2025, the current director, one of the original authors of the HIPAA privacy rule, reinforced that same message after a $182,000 settlement. This is not going away. So look at the bind that puts every practice owner in. To protect a practice's online reputation, the standard advice is to respond to every review, because silence reads as absence. What that advice doesn't account for is that medical practices are bound by HIPAA, and that same audit found nearly half of the handwritten responses crossed a privacy line. So they're caught between two failures, going quiet or answering by hand and crossing a line. The way out isn't trying harder or being more careful on a given afternoon. The reply that protects a practice is the one that's consistent every single time, warm and useful and completely private, never confirming care, never naming a clinical detail, never arguing the specifics. Hitting that level of consistency across every review while running a busy practice shouldn't land on the office manager's to-do list. It should be automated. That's the exact gap ResponseRx was built to close. Every reply is crafted by its patent-pending AI engine, HIPAA-compliant by design, and written in the practice's own brand voice, so it still sounds like them. The practice stays in control, approving each reply or letting the system run on its own, and nobody on the team has to gamble on getting the wording right. They answer everything, and they answer it safely. For any practice that wants to know which side of that 46% its current replies fall on, ResponseRx will give a free evaluation, no strings attached. Better to find a slip now than to pay for it later.